أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي صدق الله العظيم أما بعد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وعلى وسلم. Once again, welcome to our daily reminder. Alhamdulillah, we are slowly heading towards the end. So we are now on a downhill. So it was a struggle before, going uphill. Now, alhamdulillah, we're going down in terms of the ease of fasting. And we are walking through the 40 narrations of Mullah Ali al-Qari, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh. And this topic that we're looking at, the topic of looking at the Qur'an and the virtues of the Qur'an and the engagement with the Qur'an. And the reason we're doing it because this month is the month in which the Qur'an, the relationship with the Qur'an is renewed. So like you have, people renewing their wedding vows. So we're renewing our vows with the Qur'an. And how do we renew those vows? Well, we look at the merits and virtues of the Qur'an, and that gives us encouragement. And that's the whole idea, the whole purpose of having these sessions, are to encourage, firstly, to encourage myself to actually do something and to improve the relationship with the Qur'an, but also, on secondary, to encourage everyone who's watching. So the next narration is concerning parents. The next two narrations are concerning the parents. So how are the parents connected to the Quran? وعن سهل بن معاذ الجهني عن أبيه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من قرأ القرآن وعمل بما فيه ألبس والداه تاجا يوم القيامة ضوءه أحسن من ضوء الشمس في بيوت الدنيا لو كانت فيكم فما ظنكم بالذي عمل بهذا. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that anyone who recites the Holy Quran, anyone who reads the Holy Quran and acts upon it, so recites it and then وَعَمِلَ بِمَا فِيهِ, so acts upon that which is in it. So acting upon that which is contained in the Quran, the orders, the advice that is within the Quran. Then on the Day of Judgment, Allah will make his parents wear a crown. His parents will be gifted a crown, the light of which will be brighter than the sun if the sun was in your homes. So if the sun, so how bright is the sun? Try looking at it when it's 29, 30 degrees, how bright is it? Now imagine that sun which is so many, hundreds and thousands of miles away. How bright would it be if it was in our own homes? And Allah will give this crown to the parents. So then the Prophet ﷺ ends with a very beautiful summarization of this narration. He said, فَمَا ظَنُّكُمْ بِالَّذِي عَمِلَ بِهَذَا. What do you think? What do you think about the person who actually does this? So this is a gift for the person's parents. So anyone who reads the Quran and then acts upon it, for his parents or her parents, the reward is that they will be given these beautiful, amazing crowns to wear on the Day of Judgment, which will stand out from everyone else. The Prophet ﷺ asked the question, what do you think will be the reward of the one who actually does it? So what is the reward for the child? So if this is what the parents are getting, what will the child get? So this hadith is an encouragement for parents, that it is a duty for parents to make sure that their children have a relationship with the Quran. It is important to instill a lifelong relationship inside children not just a relationship from 5 to 7 or 4 to 7 like in the evening mosque classes. To encourage children to have a constant engagement with the Qur'an, to start living by the Qur'an, not just to go to the mosque, read it, bas ek do bari vichu langiya, bas khatam. Usto baad, oh Qur'an khatam ho gaya ji. Mare putra hai Qur'an khatam kari chhodya. Mari bachchi Qur'an khatam kita to sunya nahi. Qur'an kade khatam nahi hona. Qur'an naal jara ta'alluq hai na, wo zindagi bhar rehna chahiye. और कदे भी नहीं आना चाहिए कि कुरान खत्म किया खत्मुल कुरान ने जी क़िराअत है वो लादी चीज़ है लेकिन कुरान ख़त्म करना बस ज़हन में बनाई गई कि बच्चे बस एक बार बच्चे जो कुरान विचों लंघाई छोड़िया तो लंघी या राह विचों गुजरी या एक बार वो उस राह विचों गुजरी या तो फिर बस उनको नहीं पुत्रा उनको मैं जाना ताकि पर रखी शेरोस ताकि किसी जाओ that's all That's the psychology which we are imparting upon our children. So we're teaching our children, this is how you engage with the Quran. Read it for a couple of years from the age of 5 till 11, 12, and then once you get to high school, later high school, then you just leave it and that's it. You abandon it and you let it go. We should not have this idea, this way of thinking. Another thing that happens I see is what parents now, it's too much, they have to go to the mosque, they have to read the Quran, and then it's too much for them. Nothing is ever too much for children when it comes to study. When it comes to education, children are sponges. You give them more and more and more. The more you give them, the greater their capacity becomes. The more that you give to your children, the more things that they have to do, the greater their mental capacity later on in life to absorb more knowledge. Because we are shaping their minds. And if we're shaping their minds to be tiny little balls that just take on 1 or 2 hours of reading or 1 or 2 hours of work a day, then they're going to have tiny, puny little minds. And then when tomorrow comes, and they have to absorb more information to get somewhere in life, then it will be very difficult for them. So what if we train our children's minds from early on? And one of the miracles of the Qur'an is that when children start learning the Qur'an, memorizing it, their intellectual capacity is increased. When children memorize and learn the Qur'an, they become more intelligent. And this is a fact. This is something that I have witnessed in my own life. I have seen this. That's when we engage with the Qur'an and we encourage our children, their mind opens up. And with the blessings of the Qur'an, they start doing well in school. I have yet to meet a child, and this is my personal practical experience. I have never met a child till this day who is bad in reading Qur'an, in memorizing Qur'an, and is good at school. I have never met a child like this. This is a fact. Every child that I've met who is good with the Qur'an, who recites and learns and memorizes it, they are also excelling in school. They actually do either better than average or they are right at the top of the class in school. This is due to the blessing of the Qur'an. The Qur'an doesn't hinder a child's learning. The Qur'an actually expands it and helps it and guides it. So we have this new generation of parents growing up that are mollycoddling their children. Don't know, बहुत ज़्यादा है जी बच्चे न उनको ना ज़हन जो नरम है तो ज़्यादा कम हो जाना थकी जा रहे. बच्चा 1-2 दिन थकना उसके बाद वो आदी हो जाना. A child is tired, fatigued when doing a new task first couple of times, then it becomes a habit, then it's easier. Because children easily, their bodies and their minds are amazing how they adapt to a situation. And we see this with children. So a 5-year-old child comes to the mosque, right? And the first day in the mosque, he reads or she reads and then they fall asleep after the first half an hour. And we let them sleep. They go to sleep on the bench, on the desk. And we let them sleep, they rest for an hour, and then it's home time and then they go home. Then they do this again the next day. And then the next day. after the first week, the child is alert because they have gotten used to this new routine, this new environment. But if we were just from the beginning, oh, the child is too tired, it's too much for him, let's just only let him read for an hour or for half an hour, 15 minutes, and then they can go to sleep at home. No, the child will not develop the skills. What you're doing is, you are limiting the child to what they're able to do in that moment in time. You are not increasing their capacity. And if you increase the capacity of children to do more, then they pick up more, and they do learn. Another thing that we need to teach our children is that we encourage them to read the Qur'an, but also to act upon it. This idea of just learning Qur'an. The Prophet ﷺ, he talks about acting upon that which it contains. So when the Prophet ﷺ talks about وَعَمِلَ بِمَا فِيهِ, acting upon that which is in it or which it contains, then the Prophet ﷺ is talking about the deen, Islam. When we look at the deen, when we have Islam, then we have to learn the Quran, but also then decipher what's in it. What's inside the Quran? So we need to teach our children the religion, not just just repetition, but also what the message is. And when we are encouraging our children, then we are actively participating in their education. And those children who come to the masjid, who come to the mosque regularly, and who attend the Quran classes, who attend the Islamic studies classes, and their parents are engaged with us, with the teachers, their children are doing really, really well. So those parents who engage with the mosque, who engage with the school, their children do very well. So it's not just a case of just, because every person, every parent is responsible. It's not just the idea of just, not caring about the children once they're born. We are not, I see especially many fathers, in all honesty, their engagement with their children is up to the extent of the conception, and after that they don't really care. So they're involved in the conception, but they're not involved after that day. And this is a sorry state of affairs. I see mothers dragging their children around, attending everything, disciplining their children, and doing everything for their kids. But fathers, they are nowhere to be seen. A complete, dereliction of duty. They are, complete abandonment of the duty of fatherhood. The Prophet ﷺ said, each of you is a shepherd, and every one of you will be questioned regarding your flock. The king and the ruler, he's the shepherd of his nation, and he'll be questioned how he looked after them and took care of them, and how he carried out his responsibilities. But you, on a personal level, on an individual level, a man, a rajul, he is the shepherd of his family, and he will be questioned regarding how he looked after, took care of his family. This is why the Prophet ﷺ, he taught men to be engaged with their families and to take seriously the matter of raising their children. Raising the children is not just the job of a woman, it is the job of a man also. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, he says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. That, O you who believe, save yourselves, أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ, save yourselves and your families from the fire for which is fueled by men and stones, by humans and stones. So the fuel of the fire are stones and humanity. Save yourselves and your families. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, عَلَيْهَا مَلَائِكَةٌ غِلَاظٌ شِدَادٌ لَا يَعْصُونَ اللَّهَ مَا أَمَرَهُمْ وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. That he says that upon that fire are appointed angels who do not flinch, who do not waver, and they carry out the commands of Allah without any, flinching or without any reservation. Why is Allah saying this? Why is Allah, after telling us that save yourselves and your families, and And then he says, there are angels appointed on the fire that will not flinch. This is the beauty of the Qur'an. Because Allah is saying to us that when it comes to your families, if you were to see them being punished, you will flinch. You will feel sorry for your children. You will feel sorry for your wives. You will feel sorry for your brothers and sisters. But the angels who are appointed to this task of punishing those who neglect, those angels will never flinch. They will never flinch from their duty. So rather than feeling sorry for them in the next life, make provisions, take care in this life. So we need to be taking responsibility of teaching our children the Qur'an and what is within it. What is happening amongst the fathers especially is that when the children are born, that's it, they're cute and nice, and after that we just let go. And then we just, tell our wives, here you go, here's some money for the food, do the shopping, and that's it. That's like having a nanny. You're paying a nanny to take care of your kids, that's all you're doing. We're not living up to be fathers. We're not being parents. We're just being people who buy a service, and the service is employing a nanny, in this case, having a wife who's like a nanny, taking care of our children. Other than that, there is no engagement. This is a recipe for destruction. This is a recipe for destruction in this life and in the hereafter. We will destroy our children in this life, and we are destroying ourselves in the next life. Then we should not have any expectations. So when we are passing the book to our wives, we should be very careful. Allah bless our wives, Allah bless our mothers who have done so much and who are continuing to do so much. Allah bless all the mothers who are out there putting so much effort into bringing their children up in this environment, in this particular challenging time. So we have to ask ourselves that when we look at our children, would we like to see the faces being burnt? Would we like to see our children being punished? We would not like this at all. So therefore, we should be very mindful. We should be very mindful of trying to save them from the fire of hell. So this reward for parents is that they will be given these great crowns, but the reward for the one who reads it, who actually reads the Quran, who acts upon it, how amazing would that be? There's another narration which the great Shaykh writes after them, which is similar. He says, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man qara al-Qur'ana wa ta'allamahu wa 'amila bihi ulbisa yawm al-qiyamati tajan min nuri daw'uhu mislu daw' ash-shams. Wa yuksa walidayhi hullatan la yaqumu bihima ad-dunya fayaqula bima kusina. Wa yuqal bi akhdhi waladi kumal Qur'an." So this narration, the Prophet ﷺ is saying that he who recites the Quran, learns it, acts upon it, will be made to wear a crown of light on the day of resurrection. A crown of light that is the light of which is like the sun. And his parents will be robed in two garments, the like of which do not exist upon this world. They will ask, why have we been made to wear this? And they will be told, because your child took the Quran. Your child took the Quran. So this is encouragement to encourage our children to become hafiz of Quran, but also act upon it. This also means that the person, so when this particular narration is he recites the Quran, so qara al-Quran wa ta'allamahu, and he learns the Quran, and then wa 'amila bihi, and he acts upon it. So 3: recitation, learning, and the third is acting upon it. And this is the reward for his parents and himself, that he will be given the Quran according to this narration, and according to others, and The other narration is that his parents will be given the Qur'an, so will be given the crown. And then when he's given the crown of this light, this illumination, his parents will be given robes of honor, the like of which do not exist in this world. So no king or queen has ever seen or worn the robes like this. So they will be treated like royalty. So those parents who encourage their children to learn the Qur'an, to read the Qur'an, they'll be treated like royalty. And this is the reward for those who encourage their children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us to be people who recite the Qur'an, who encourage our children to read it, who encourage our children to act upon it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gift the reward to those who are making that effort. And fathers need to be engaged with the Qur'an, and they need to encourage their children, and they need to have an active role in upbringing their children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Min Allah tawfiq wa astaghfir.